So for pregame show, I've got a couple of things. One is I have exhausted the available. Hold on. Oh, lost you. There we go. I've exhausted the available local copies of First Publishing's run of Lone Wolf and Cub from the '80s. Their '80s translations. With Frank Miller kind of at the helm. And so I am now turning to Dark Horse. These big old boys. these are hefty. And I only have access to number 7. I think there were like 13 omnibuses. But so it's not near the end, but there's also quite a bit of content that I'm skipping over just to get here. And what I'm impressed by, and one of the things that made me fall in love with the storytelling of the series, is how each issue is a sort of encapsulated story, and there's a clever turn, there's a clever resolution, there's something in it that is, I call it mind-catching. It's just, it captivates you, and you're following along, and you get the gimmick at the same time that it pays off for Ogami Ito, and it makes you feel clever, it makes you feel like you're in on the drama. And I really dig that. There's a lot to love about the way these stories are told, and also really interesting. So just for those who don't know the conceit, Ogami Ito is a disgraced samurai. His son is the only survivor of his family alongside him, and they go out on the Meifumado, the Demon's Way of Hell, and with the intention of getting revenge, of course, as you do when your entire family and your legacy are put down. And so he says that he and his son Daigoro are both on the Demon's Way to Hell, and he uses this as, I don't want to say a justification, but it is definitely part of the reason why he's okay putting Daigoro in mortal danger. And I'm like thinking like, okay, I need to step back and read this through the cultural lens through which it is created to see if there's a little more, something a little more robust than my two options, which is one, that he is insane and thinks that a child can actually consent to being a warrior of hell, or two, that that he's just okay with it. He's okay with the risk, and Daigoro often, in one of these things, he's riding on his dad's back, and Ogami uses this as a reason as a way of deterring somebody from attacking him from above with a blade, because they don't want to hit the child. So he uses their sympathy against him. It's this sort of like very cunning, cutthroat cleverness that he uses to win his battles. And that's all very exciting to see, but it's always when he's like, okay, and he always explains it as, Daigoro also agreed to be on the Demon's Way of Hell. We are both on this road together. So there's something that's simultaneously a little psychotic about that, and also a little touching, because, from Daigoro's standpoint, like, his dad is all he's got in the world, and his dad, that's all he knows. So they are together on this journey, it's because Daigoro doesn't know any other life. And there's something very interesting there about what we become accustomed to when we're young. So there's that, and also, so I'm going to admit, when I started the banjo at the pregame show of the last stream, I started cold and made many more mistakes than I was actually comfortable doing on stream. So in terms of my skill, hey Dustin, it's great to see you. I'm glad you made it here too, and I'm really glad your internet's hooked up. Did all the creepy crawlies get handled in your place? My fingers are absolutely crossed for you that they did. Oh God. Okay. Well, check out the last stream. Check out the opening. I intended to demonstrate a couple of trill styles on for Baroque adaptations on a banjo, and again, in the process, just didn't warm up enough, and it came off kind of clunky. And the thing about a banjo is that when it comes off clunky, it comes off real clunky. When it pays off, Banjo is one of those instruments like a trumpet or something else like this that is often used as, or a bagpipes, that's used as sort of an example of something that is unbearable that somebody plays, that you as the unfortunate party get sat next to on an airplane. I don't know why somebody would be playing a banjo or a bagpipes on the airplane, but you understand what I mean. That's good. I'm really glad there are less of them. May fate reward you with a new pair of shoes to for more stomping. Yeah, so what I've done is I recorded my arrangement of this Andrea Falconieri song called Brando de Abril, and so I can semi-reliably play a piece of music straight with only one or two errors. I've got to say my action game chops really come in both handy as a frame of reference for starting over again and feeling okay with the grind of getting better, but I think they also might harm me a little bit because, when you are doing a run of something in an action game and you screw up, you just, all right, gonna reload my old save. And so when I mess up while playing a song, I go back to the start of the song, and that neglects practicing the stuff that happens in the mid and later parts. So yeah, I have to sort of start at different places of a song to practice all of it, or else I'll use my action game, my S++ ranking instincts, and just restart over and over again. So I get really good at the first couple of parts until I screw up. But so I think this is going to work in terms of having Streamlabs OBS play this. So I'm going to click over. It should start playing immediately, and the volume should be calibrated. So let me know if you cannot hear it. Here we go. Cool. So yes, that is my arrangement of it, and demonstration that I can play a song. Thank you. For a little background on what that is. So that song is a Renaissance song, and it has 4 instruments to it. One is an arch lute. The other, I think, is a guitar, and those are sort of the lead voices. And there's a bass and another kind of bass that play along with it, but the dominant melody is between those two sort of front string instruments. And what that arrangement does is it incorporates the parts of each voice that are dominant at any given time, while also trying to bring aspects of the other voice into it, because they're supporting each other even when they're not the dominant voice. So basically trying to feature each of them as the dominant voice and also as the support. And I can hear areas where it can improve, where I can bring some of the supporting voice back up into the dominant melody. But yeah, right now this is a pretty good pausing point on it, because reading sheet music is challenging. I realize in that video it looks like I'm reading off the sheet music because of the placement of my music stand, but in fact I'm not. I can interpret sheet music and then I can remember how to play it, and that's it. So initially I was kind of like thinking like, man, I don't know if guitar is exactly going to be compatible with my fingerpicking style, but then I've been watching a lot of Fleetwood Mac live performances. I don't know the name of their guitarist, but he uses a similar style, and I like it, and I think that's kind of inspiring. That like, oh, okay, there's room for what I do there, and yeah. So, with that in mind, I think I am ready to hop into Elden